Okay, we're showing live here. Are we showing live? We're showing live on YouTube. So we are doing good. Okay, welcome from behind enemy lines to Rick's Life as I See It, shooting with disabilities. But I talk about that, plus guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Or I should say our mind, if I have a panel, which I do tonight. I'll also answer questions from you guys if you put them in the chat, or you can email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Also, if you can't make it all the way through the chat, you can listen to the audio file on Podbean, Stitcher, or iTunes. I normally have that uploaded within 24 hours. Also, I'm running a GoFundMe for my move to Indiana. I know I'm hoping to be out of here by October 1st, but I might have to extend it a week. But I'm moving. I need help, but also on a donation. If you donate what I'm doing, if you donate $10, I will send you one of my brand new stickers as soon as I get here of Rick's Life as I See It. Also, Dead Horse and David have put up a prize or a drawing they're going to do. The more money you put in, the more what's the word I'm looking for?
Chances.
The more chances you get. They've got Slip 2000 gun oil from Strike Industries, I think it's called, an AR-15 Glock or an M&P gun part, and Potatoes and Lead is donated a wooden box with the Gun Channels logo burned into it for you to keep all your cleaning supplies in. So that's to help you donate to my GoFundMe. And you can find the link for that below in the chat there, below the screen on GunTube. I ain't got it on YouTube and on Gun Channels. I am broadcasting on both at the same time here, like magic. Oh, David, David Bowen, how you doing? Roosted Films, how you doing? Okay, in the chat we've got David Wright. Hey, David.
Hey, Rick. How you doing this evening, sir?
Fine, thank you. And I got Patriot in the Dark.
Hello, fine sir.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I got a lot of invites out there. I don't know who's going to show up or not, but if they show up, they do. If they don't, they don't. You know, we can make it. So also, if you want to join the panel, I'm putting the link over in on the gun channel site for anybody that wants to join. Okay, my topic for tonight, shooting with disabilities. I mean, it's been talked about a couple of times this week. I've noticed on a few chats, but I'm looking at it from a, for lack of a word, a disability side. I mean, like myself. I mean, right now I'm on medication and it's nice and warm, so my arthritis is not playing up too much. But when it is, my question is, carrying your firearm with one in the chamber or not? Now, I want to say, I know I've only been in the guns for about 2.5 years and stuff, but I was one of these ones, if you don't carry one in the chamber, you might as well not carry at all. Now, my view has changed over these years. Now, the way I look at it, yes, I think you should carry one in the chamber personally, but I don't want you to leave your gun at home because you're scared to carry one in the chamber. I'd rather you carry a gun, than leave it at home, because you never know when you might need it. But where I was going, and one of the reasons why I carry one in the chamber, Yeah, my gun has a safety on it when I bought it. That's the way it is, and I've got used to it. Now, a lot of times it's not even on, but I've over the months and years I've been shooting it, I've learned as soon as I pull it out of my holster to push the button down. Whether sometimes it's already down, so I don't have to worry about it. My thumb automatically does it, you know. So in case that ever happens, but the reason I carry one in the chamber now is with the arthritis. If I don't have one in there, one day when my arthritis is hurting and I need it, can I rack it? That's the thing, you know. So, I mean, do we carry a revolver for that reason? Because you can't rack it, or do you go down to like one of those M&P? Is it M&P or Smith and Wesson Easy 380s? That's meant to
Yes.
have a real easy slide.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I was thinking about talking about tonight. How does that feel? I mean, what's your idea on that, Patriot?
Yeah, I carry in the chamber. As far as the issues with racking slides and stuff like that, um, there's options. I mean, even the honor guard or honor defense, with the reverse sight in the back where you don't have to use your hand. I mean, it's not optimal, but and then you got like the Berettas with the flip up barrels. I mean, they're smaller calibers than that. I don't know if they come in, nines or whatever, but yeah, I mean, it is definitely a question to be posed. I mean, if you can't, I mean, even if you can every day and then one day you can't, I mean, that could be for anybody. I mean, even if you're, just get injured, during a fight, or, somebody pushes you down and you break your wrist, what are you going to do? So, I mean, you got to think of that. I mean, everybody's got to think of that anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but the racking, like that easy, I actually checked it out just because I was at the shop or whatever, and I mean, two finger on the slide. I mean,
It's real easy.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if there's some magic in there that doesn't make it shoot down the lane when you shoot, but it works, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
But
What's your opinion on it, David?
Well, I feel the person making the decision's got to be the person carrying the gun. If you feel competent in having one in the chamber, that's how I carry one, right in the pipe and a fully loaded magazine. Um, the reason why is when milliseconds count, you're just not going to have the time to rack a slide. Um, in the military, they told us never to carry one in the chamber because that wasn't your primary fighting weapon. And but in a combat situation, I knew guys that always loaded their Beretta M9s with one in the pipe. But you have to be comfortable with it, because if you're not comfortable with it, you are going to start doubting, and that may cause you to have a negligent discharge. So you just need to really listen to yourself. If you don't feel comfortable, then get the training so that you are comfortable and make the right decision, especially if you have arthritis or you have weak hands because you're aging. We all are. I've lost a lot of the strength in my hands. And after, doing tasks with my hands for hours, I sometimes can't rack a slide anymore because I have some arthritis starting and from some injuries. And it just, as you get older, you lose that hand strength. So I think each person needs to make that decision, but they need to know that seconds count, milliseconds count. So get used to being able to carry your weapon with one in the chamber is what I recommend.
Yeah, and as
and
people are
you
saying
get,
in the chat, I mean, you need training too to
you need to know your
get more confident.
limitations for sure.
What was that, Patriot?
I said you got to know your limitations. I mean, there's people like that. I don't know. I mean, everybody's different, and I mean, I've heard the arguments, across the board, and
Yeah.
if you carry an empty pistol in a box in your other pocket, bullets and stuff, at least you're better than not having anything, that kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, it depends on the people. You got to know yourself. That whole idea of when you get up in the morning and you put your pistol in your holster, saying today's the day I'm going to have to use this, just so that your head's focused on stuff. Not that you're going to, but it's better to, I don't know, at least set yourself up, because if you doubt yourself, then that's just going to cause you problems anyway. I mean, with anything you do, let alone carrying a pistol. I'm sure it's I mean, if you have issues, and that your hands don't work all the time or whatever. I mean, I'm not one to say don't do it. Don't carry, don't do whatever, because you have issues. You just have to work around them. Be it getting a pistol that you can rack, or like the Berettas with the tip up barrels or something, where you can load it without having to rack it. You put a full magazine in, tip the barrel up, put it in, close it, and you're ready. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different options. I'm sure there's devices and stuff, that can be attached. I mean, just the idea of having, your rear sight flipped around so that you could catch it on your pants, or as the guy said, across the bad guy's chin. I mean, there's ways of doing stuff, but you just have to practice it as well. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and that's okay. You got to make sure that you practice it.
Absolutely. Also, why we were being discussing this, Squib has joined the panel. Did you hear the part of the start of the conversation there, Squib?
No.
Well,
you don't pay attention.
I was talking about carrying one in the chamber. I mean, I carry one in the chamber. I've done some training, and I'm used to it. Also, with my arthritic hands, I might not be able to do it when I need it. That's where this was going. But I wanted to also say, if you don't carry one in the chamber, I mean, if somebody says to you, "Well, if you don't carry one in the chamber, you might as well not carry it at all," just tell them to go to hell, because I'd rather you carry a gun and not, than not carry one. What's the point of having a carry permit if you leave it at home? So that was what we were discussing, Squib. Any input?
I guess my take on that is, if you have a carry permit and you leave your gun at home, there's no harm in that. If you carry with one in the chamber, there's no harm in that. If you carry without one in the chamber, there's no harm in that. If you carry with the safety on or the safety off, there's no harm in that. Here's the thing. Our community, I hear lots of arguments this way, and we tear each other apart over it. If you want to say, because I don't carry a gun everywhere I go, I'm irresponsible, but you carry a gun every single place you go, I'm going to call you paranoid. Or you obviously don't care enough about yourself to live in maybe a safer neighborhood. I think both arguments have equal validity. If you say you're going to get killed because you don't have one in the chamber, or you use an external safety, I'm going to tell you that the safety on your trigger can fail just as easily as an external one, and that if you carry one in the chamber, you're going to have an ND. All those arguments are all valid. Here's the thing. It's a matter of personal preference. That's all it really is. But people get butthurt and defensive. They go to these instructors that they pay good money to go to these classes because they don't know nothing about guns, and they think because this guy's got a tight t-shirt, a shaved head, and a goatee that he knows everything about guns. All you're getting is his take on it. That's all you're getting on it. And you can't always apply my living situation to your life, or your situation to my life, or something like that. And I hear so many people get so bent out of shape on one side or the other. And it's a matter of, that's like saying, you know what, because you carry a revolver, you know, you're not being you don't care about your safety or safety. It's like, what are you talking about? I mean, you want to carry a revolver, carry a revolver. You want to carry semi-auto, carry a semi-auto. You want to carry hollow points, carry hollow point. You want to carry full metal jacket. I mean, it's all a matter of preference, and I think too many people put too much of an emphasis on the way that they were taught is the only way, is the right way, or because they saw a YouTube video with this guy who looks like an operator who must know what he's talking about because he's on YouTube, and I didn't know anything about guns until after Sandy Hook. Then that's what I'm gonna, you know, I hear too much of that. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was trying to say. I mean, I agree to what you're saying. Is it's each to everybody's own preference. But personally, myself, because of my arthritis in my hands, I mean, I'm comfortable carrying one in the chamber, but it also helps that if my fingers are really bothering me that day, I don't have to worry about it because it's already in there, you know? That's what I was talking about. I was talking about the shooting with disability side of it, you know?
Yeah, from that side, I think you're going to have to take that into consideration. I mean, at some point, I may need one of those, was it 380 EZs?
Yeah.
Those Shield EZs? Yeah. Every time I go to the store, no matter where it's at, they always seem to be out of stock, so I can't try one out. But, you know, it's just like the whole caliber debate. Somebody's going to tell you, you know, you need a 45 to stop somebody, and somebody else is going to go 9mm just fine, and then somebody in the middle is going to come up with, you know, 357 Magnum or whatever, and then we go around and around with that. Or some people, huh? What's that?
I said, or you talk to a European and they use 32.
Yeah. Or you're going to have somebody, you know, who says don't open carry because now you're advertising. Or you're going to have somebody go, no, I open carry because I want them to know. That way they go after somebody else. I mean, it's this thing that just goes round and round and round, and all of it has a valid point. But if you want to look at it from the standpoint of what you're able to do because of physical limitations due to a disability, or we're all just getting older and older and older, then yeah, I mean, you got to look at it like that. But I mean, some of the stuff is just, I mean, when you're joking, you're joking. If you're just, you know, ribbing somebody, that's one thing. But I've open carried and concealed carried with one in the chamber, without one in the chamber. It just, it doesn't make a difference to me. But when I carry without one in the chamber, it's because of safety reasons. For example, when I was at the 2A rally in Columbus, Ohio, I wasn't carrying because I didn't know Ohio's laws. I could have open carried in Ohio, and I didn't, but I would have if I had known. The law enforcement there asked everybody not to carry with one in the chamber, not because they were afraid they were going to shoot up the cops, because they didn't want to risk an ND. There were so many people with so many guns there. If somebody had tried something, the extra half a second it's going to take to pull back the charging handle, rack the slide, or you know, or cock the cylinder and to the loaded chamber is minimal. I mean, I wasn't worried. Now, I didn't go up to anybody and ask them, hey, did you leave an empty chamber? But at a 2A rally, that's definitely a place you don't want an ND. And people had ammunition in the mags. What's the harm? So, I mean, there are some times where maybe that's more prevalent. Or, you know, with your arthritis situation, you don't want to deal with that thing. At least if you have a safety on the gun of some sort, then you've got that as a backup so you don't risk an ND. But there are some people that live in places where they feel that the crime is so bad that they're only going to have a split second and they're going to have to draw. I don't live in one of those places, and I try not to visit those places. And some people don't have much of a choice. They may work in that neighborhood or whatever the heck it is, or they're trying to move out, but they're right now they're not in a position to do that. And maybe that's something where carrying with one in the chamber is maybe more conducive to your environment, right? So.
The other thing is, if you're having issues with that, you know, being at home before you leave, there's ways of racking your slide or whatever, you know, that's going to be easier. You know, be it that you have a table, you have your, you know, pistol vise, whatever it takes. You know, it's going to make you feel better anyways, because you know you know it's done. then when you walk out, you're not having that in the back of your head, where you're looking around or whatever. If you're nervous, it's going to show that you're nervous. Not that you can't be nervous or whatever, but
Yeah.
I know it would definitely help.
Night Strike has joined us. He's only just hopped in for a minute. He said he's still watching the Supreme Court thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how you doing, Night Strike?
I'm doing, but watching the idiots that are running our country is almost making me want to run for office, because, I mean, if these idiots can get in, what's my excuse?
Money. It takes
Well,
money.
when you become a politician, someone can start a super PAC and take donations in your name. So again, I might be able to do it.
Yeah, might be.
Because you have the campaign fund and all that.
Yeah. And also joined us was the Gun Snob. How you doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
All right. Did you want to get into this conversation?
Yeah, I was just wanting to argue a little bit about it.
Oh, go for it.
All right. My only opinion is I don't care. It's your life, not mine, whether you carry one in the chamber or not. That's none of my business. But one thing I do think is, Squib was talking about negligent discharges. If you have a good quality holster and a good gun belt, there is no negligent discharge risk at all if it stays in your holster. And number two is also, if you have a good quality gun belt and a good holster, you can rack your slide on that if you only need to use one hand. So, it's kind of just everybody's personal opinion. I don't care what you do. I'm not carrying one without one in the chamber, but I also, if I'm going to carry a gun, why not carry the maximum amount of rounds I can?
Yeah, and you don't have an issue with racking them either.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't, but it's none of my business what you do.
Yeah. I mean, because we were looking, as you all know, the actual name of my chat tonight starts off as Shooting with Disabilities. Is I was saying with my arthritis, especially in the wintertime, it gets harder and harder for me to rack the slide. That's what So I was just saying that's why I brought the question up. I mean, I personally myself, I carry one in the chamber. I'm comfortable doing it. Plus, I don't have a problem. I mean, I'd rather have, as you said, I'd rather have a fully loaded weapon. And plus, if my arthritis is really playing up, I don't have to worry about trying to rack the damn thing if I do get into trouble.
Absolutely.
So I mean that was my original conversation I was having. So
I'm not a big fan of the whole rack the thing on your pants or rack the thing on the side of your boot or something like that, because you can mess up your sights. But it's your gun. If that's what you want to do, just don't do it with mine, okay?
Well, I'm saying if you only have one hand for whatever said reason is all I was saying.
Well, yeah, but I've seen those videos too where you got the guy telling you got to be ready for this and you got to be ready for that, and he ends the video with, "Oh yeah, and carry a tourniquet." It's just like, okay, dude, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I went to concealed carry training, they had us shoot with our left hand because they said there's a chance you might have to use your weak hand, and that's true. That is true. And everybody has to train up to the level that they feel is acceptable to them, whether it's no training or whether it's tons and tons of training. Everybody has a certain level that's where they want to go. It's just, I just hear a lot of these guys just all this. It's what does Yankee call it? The ninja backflip thing or whatever. You do the tactical ninja roll or something. And I hear some of this stuff and it's dude, what sort of fantasy land are you in? It's like, hey man, if that's what you want to learn how to do, go ahead. It's your money. It's your time.
I got something with that. Here's the situation. All right. I'm walking along, just minding my own blind business, and somebody assaults me, right? So I have one hand around his throat, holding him, and say my stupid semi-auto jams or whatever, So there is a situation. Now, normal people aren't going to be, trying to hang on to a bad guy, but that's just something thrown out there. So
yeah.
If you pulled it out and it jammed and you only had one free hand, at that point, It really doesn't. Man, I'm talking about the person who every single time they rack their gun, they put it up against the side of their boot and they rack it. You know, at the end of a year, you're not going to have any rear sight left, dude.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
I don't agree with that.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but if you do have arthritis, wouldn't that make it easier? I mean, if they had to, say they're carrying, say somebody chose or is scared or lack of training, whatever reason, they're choosing not to carry one in the chamber, and they have a situation like arthritis or something, can't grip it, they could still use their holster or their boot or whatever.
I don't know about the whole. See, when somebody doesn't carry one in a chamber and somebody says, "Oh, you're scared," I'm not always buying that. Then that's what I'm talking about. Our own community, we just tear each other up over personal preference. I mean, there's, you know, the whole joke about 9mm being weak and stuff is a joke. And then, but there are times where some people take that even a little bit too far. And I'm not talking about being sensitive and caring about other people's feelings. I don't really care. And I hope you guys don't care about mine, but I'm just talking about, it's in the same genre of because it's not my way, it's the wrong way. And it's like, well, hold up, man, hold up. You know, that's all I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, as David said, in the Army, he was taught not to carry one in the chamber, you know, because it wasn't their primary weapon. You know, the rifle was. So.
Well, see, you know, I was in law enforcement and have law enforcement training, and they trained us, you know, to rack your slide wherever. But, you know, you always carried a full gun. You know, if it held 17 rounds plus one, you carried 17 rounds plus one.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Also, what I was talking about this, I think I saw it on the Glock. I don't know if they make it for other brands. Was like a little T on the back of the slide that you could get your fingers over to pull back if you're having trouble with your slide.
Yeah, they have those for competition guns too. Like, so it's easier. Yeah, they have one that goes in the Glock that just slides in your back plate. I've seen.
So it's like
why not just a double action revolver?
Well, I brought that up too in the original conversation, or just I mean, if your hands are getting to that point, you know, old age, arthritis or whatever, and your hands are getting weak. I mean, like I got arthritis, plus I have a weak left wrist now because of the accident I had with it. I might go to revolver. You know what I'm saying? So it's an option.
If you can use it.
You know, I own a 38 special. You know, so I could always carry that if I had to.
That's only because you're special, Rick.
I know I am.
But has your 38 special ever cut your hand, Rick?
No, it hasn't. My 1911 hasn't yet either.
Well, then it's untested.
Hey, that's right. I mean, you've got something you can talk about to your grandchildren. You know. So, I mean, anyway, anybody else got anything on this? Because we can move on to on to other stuff. Any finals on this?
I just say, you know, if you have to know your situation and your limits, you know, be it if you're, you know, one of them normal guys, what they think is normal or whatever, or you have some issues, whatever. You gotta know your issues, or you gotta know your issues too. But
yes,
you gotta know your limits. Yeah, and you gotta work with them, and you can't just sit there and think about it and then listen to, you know, the gun shop guy or the whatever to figure out how you can do it. You have to actually get out there and, you know, I'm not saying you have to go and take classes and all that kind of craziness. You can go to the range, and as long as you're safe, work on some things. You know, you can dry fire in your house, so you can practice, you know, and see if you got a bad day, you know, and you're at home and you're not going anywhere, test it out, see what you can do. I mean, don't put holes in your walls or anything, but that's it.
That's another thing to kind of think about is, you know, if you are going to carry without one in the chamber, you darn sure better practice every time you draw that gun, racking that slide as fast as you can. And not just say, oh, I can do it. I've practiced it twice.
Yeah. I mean, because I mean, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I mean, it's been said and it's been proven that when an attack comes, I mean, it comes, boom, it's on you. Sometimes you ain't got time to rack a slide, to be quite honest with you. I mean, even
maybe.
the, what you call it, is it the Tula rule, where somebody with a knife and 21 feet can reach you in 1.5 seconds? And,
yeah, I don't.
right? I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
There's some of that
about
stuff.
a second or so to draw your gun, right? Then by the time you're drawing your gun, he's on top of you. The knife is plunging into you, and you still haven't racked it yet.
Well, see, there's a whole issue with all that stuff. Because I mean, yeah, you can think that way, but if you get your head out of your ass, you're going to see a situation before it gets even close to that, unless something's dire.
Well,
and I don't believe that happens as much as
yeah. I mean,
selling training and all that stuff.
You got your head buried in your cell phone, or
yeah.
I mean, paying attention to what's going on around you.
I mean, even my kids gets feelings. Oh, this doesn't feel right. As long as you listen to that and don't try to put yourself in a. I don't know. You just got to pay attention, and that's one of the big things, because people talk about this running and the knife and all that kind of stuff. I mean, sure, I guess that happens somewhere, but
Well, that was originally basically a law enforcement thing. Was the 21-foot rule?
Yeah.
It carried over into concealed carry, but
yeah, and it's been said 100 times, and I don't know. There's probably some validity in everything, but I don't base my stuff on just that, because if you're paying attention, I mean, I got to pay attention a little bit more than probably you guys. You guys can look around and see somebody, picking their nose and keep an eye on them or whatever. But I mean, I have my ways of knowing if somebody's around or whatever. But if you get to a point where you're just walking along and you say, oh, hey, I'll cut through this alley, or I'll do this, or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
I just mean you got to pay attention. You got to know what's going on, and if you don't see things that are happening, that's on you. And to worry about this, you gotta be able to pull in a second and shoot, and I'm sure there's situations like that, but I could almost say that that's not something that's the majority.
Yeah, situational awareness, and just like the old saying goes, if I ever get an invite to a gunfight, I'm going to politely decline. So if I can get out of there without having to draw my weapon or even consider it, more the barrier.
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of lazy here, because I don't go out of my way to go into these places where I feel like I've got to use this on a regular basis. I guess I'm just slacking off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't go in those kind of places either. Carrying a gun doesn't make me go into the hood. I never went into the hood before. I mean, when I was younger, but we won't go into that. It's another story. But I don't go there because I carry a gun now, But walking across say you go into Walmart at nighttime, walking across the parking lot. I mean, what was it in the news the other day? A policeman got shot in the parking lot on a shoplifting.
Right in Florida, a woman sergeant with almost 20 years on the Department of Orlando Police Department was sitting in a parking lot at a Walmart over in Pine Hills, Florida, and a gang member had started either to steal something, and the Walmart security had called the police. She got out of her car before she could even get ready to walk over to see what was going on. He opened fire on her and killed her. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Listen, Squib's right about what he's saying, but he's also wrong. Some people cannot avoid situations. I have rental properties that are down in the bad part of town. People that are delivering food and services delivered to the bad parts of town. They can't live in a gated community and isolate themselves from everything. Now, I'm not saying I go downtown at 3 o'clock in the morning, back when I was 19, And in the military, when we used to get out, we would get out like anybody else in the military. We would run all night until they told us to come home. But the thing is, the bottom line is you need to be prepared for anything at any time. And situational awareness is a must. But personal preference, that's your choice. If you don't choose to carry a round in the chamber, that's your own choice to do that. But you need to be ready in a moment's situation to be able to respond to a threat. And you can't do that if you have to rack a slide. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing with you there. I'm really not.
Well, you know, that goes back to what we were talking about in Sarge's chat the other night with just the Uber driver, you know. I'm sure y'all saw that. And,
yep.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't planning that. He wasn't in a bad neighborhood or anything. Just, you know, he thought, you know, the guy thought his girlfriend was in the car and it wasn't even his girlfriend. And he was forced to react.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I watched that video, and when he had put his arm out like that, when I first saw it the very first time, I thought, well, is that a gun in his hand? It turns out to be a cell phone. But at nighttime, in the heat of the moment, you don't know that.
Well, the guy was screaming, "I've got a gun."
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it does.
How many times do we know how many times things are stopped just by, you know, brandishing? I know that's not a good word to use, but
yeah, you're like,
you know,
yeah. I already
like that crazy. Oh, did you go?
Yeah,
I got kicked out of the call, so Rick booted me.
Yeah, done that on purpose.
Last week on Budget Guns and Gear Review, Right of the People on Friday, I was the only one in the group that thought that this guy just blasted him way too fast. I understand that it was dark and he couldn't see that it was a cell phone, and the guy did say, "I have a pistol, I'll shoot you," or something to that effect. And I get that, but if you go from the time he said, "I've got a pistol," or from the time the guy who said, "Is there a problem?" to the time he blasted him, I mean, it was like that. I mean, and I'm not saying you shouldn't react quickly and you shouldn't have the right to pull off the first shot if you feel that you're in danger. It's just there's been way too many people getting blasted in Florida lately, so it don't look good. It don't look good.
Well, I totally disagree with that, because if you second guess yourself, you could have very easily been dead right then. So he did the absolute.
Okay, but he lives in a state where you can blast somebody and get away with it, and I don't. So I have to second guess myself living here. If I move somewhere else.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. The state of Florida doesn't let people go around killing people, Squib. That's a bunch of crack of shit. When that guy shot that kid, Trayvon Martin, over in Sanford, and everybody was like, "Oh, he was following him. He was on neighborhood watch. He shouldn't have been armed." All this crap. The bottom line is that kid, Trayvon Martin, was bashing that man's brain off of a concrete slab. He shot and killed him, and it was self-defense. If that kid would have survived, he would have been charged with assault and battery. So he would have been having a handcuff on while he's laying in a hospital bed. So the bottom line there is that doesn't happen in Florida. People all over the country, their threats to their human life are different, okay? I used to be in a goddamn 82nd Airborne. If a guy pulls something on me, chances are I'm not going to, as long as it's not a knife or a gun, I'm going to probably go hands to hand with him just because I was trained to fight. But your normal person isn't. And most people, Squib, haven't even had a fist fight in their entire life. So it's really hard to sit there and go, "Oh, this guy pulled his gun too fast." Like that one guy that shot the fella in the parking lot after he was yelling at the girlfriend about parking illegally in a handicap spot. We don't know his health conditions. We don't know how scared that guy was because we weren't that guy. Let's stop looking at other people and making decisions about them until the court gets involved or the sheriff makes a decision. You know, the sheriff on both the Trayvon Martin and the fella that got shot because his girlfriend parked illegally in a handicap zone. Both of those fellas, okay, were dismissed, weren't going to be prosecuted by the states or the local sheriff. He wasn't going to prosecute him because he saw no negligence and no wrongdoing. But then we get the state's attorney, he picks up the case, and then they're going to prosecute, and they arrested him. And now they're going to do this dog and pony show, spend millions of dollars of tax money that I fucking pay, and then they're going to let this guy out because he didn't break the fucking law. Yeah. Was it a kind of an eerie situation? Yeah. Would it be something I would want to be in? Hell no. You can have a lot of opinion about it, but until the man gets his due process, the bottom line is he is innocent until proven guilty. And that's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to jump on your ass, Squib. But I'm just saying, I just get sick of people saying that Florida's this shoot 'em up state. And that's not at all true. If you look at the results, more people in Florida have concealed license permits than anywhere else in the country. And we have less crime than most states that are left liberal. New York, we're less crime than New York City. LA, Chicago, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. We have less crime than all of these things, and we are a huge freaking state. So when you look at it, we're not shooting any more people than other states or getting shot, people getting shot than any other state. We just make the headlines because we're been in the news over the school shooting. And just like, was that new, that when that school shooting happened in, what is it? I want to say New Haven, but that's not right.
In Connecticut, in Sandy Brook.
Yes, Sandy Hook.
Yes.
That state got ridiculed with gun control, and they were in the limelight, and still to this day are on the news, and they bring up that same shit every time. And it's like, when you look at the amount of school shootings, real school shootings, there's not that many, and people don't really get shot all that much. And you need to look at the actual percentage of how many people live in the state to how many people are actually getting shot, and do your research there. And then it'll show you that actually Florida is a lot less chances of you getting shot in Florida than Chicago, than LA or Illinois, and then a lot of these other California, a lot of these other places that have severe drug problems and gang problems.
Oh yeah, I agree with you there. But anyway.
Well, no, I mean, I get what you're saying about the state being in the limelight. I guess I live somewhere where it's very pro-gun, and we have a lot of freedoms here. But if I use my firearm in self-defense, I'm getting thrown in prison here, and I don't like that. I'd like to see that change. I can't if I brandish my firearm and stop the attack, stop the crime, stop the violence, stop everything, and nobody gets shot, nobody gets hit, nobody anything. I brandish my firearm, I'm probably going to prison. And I'm a strong believer in brandishing, if at all possible. Every situation is different, but I'm a strong believer in brandishing to try to stop the attack. And that even stands for law enforcement. Sometimes I think they go to the trigger before they go to the threat of them using that trigger too soon. I'm not saying in every case, and I'm not saying every case can be judged the same. I don't like the fact that brandishing is illegal in my state. I think it's a horrible law. And I don't like the fact that you have to fight for your life here after you've already, you have to fight for your life in court here after you've already fought for your life on the street. I don't like it. So I don't believe that all cases can be judged the same, but I also want people to understand that not all states have the same level of understanding in a self-defense situation, even a pro-gun state like this one.
That just means you have to really think about it. And, those little seconds, yeah, sure, but you still have to think about it.
So when I see somebody else react quickly, first thing I do is I put myself in their shoes. Well, if I'm putting myself in their shoes, I'm putting myself in their shoes where I'm at. And where I'm at, if I had reacted as quickly as a convenience store guy or as quickly as the Uber driver, yeah, I wouldn't be on air right now unless they let prisoners YouTube.
Negative. Maybe the convenience store, but the Uber driver, there is no state in this country that will prosecute that whenever he's screaming, "I've got a gun,"
The first thing the judge would have said, or the district attorney would say, "Why didn't you throw the car in reverse?" I'm not saying the guy did the wrong thing. Okay, the Uber driver was attacked. The guy in the parking lot picked the fight.
I don't agree with the guy in the parking lot. I don't think that was a good shoot at all. But the Uber driver was 100% good shoot, 50 states.
I think the Uber, no, not in Michigan. I'm telling you. No. And I don't agree with that. I think it sucks. But I just, when I put myself in somebody else's shoes, the first thing I think of is, what they would have said, "Why didn't you throw the car in reverse?" Well, I'm just telling you, you have to think about these things in certain places where you live. And in other places, they're a little bit less, liable to go, yeah, you defended your life. You're a criminal, And like I said, it's ironic here because it's a pro-gun state. It really is. But if you defend yourself, in my state, you're going to jail.
Yeah, Squib, though. We here in Florida have a stand your ground, and we also, what that entitles is, if we're both occupying space that is legal for us to be in, and you threaten my life, I don't have to jump through so many hoops. I don't have to run to my car. I don't have to do all this stupid shit that 9 times out of 10 is going to get you beat down or killed anyways. It simply says that if we're both in the same place and you try to assault, rob, or hurt me in which is enough of a crime that makes me be legal to self-defend myself with deadly force, I don't have to run. I can brandish my firearm, because by brandishing firearms, if you look at the CDC's report, okay, they say 30,000 people a year die from gun violence or whatever. They say at the low end, this is President Obama's statistics, that on the low end, 500,000 people per year, their lives are saved. They are not raped, molested, or cut or killed because they brandished a firearm and scared the threat off. And that is the low end of the scale. He said the CDC said that number could well exceed 3.5 million people per year to your 30,000 dead. So, and I'll say this, and you'll say it too with me because you were a Marine. I'll throw your 30,000 people against my goddamn constitutional rights any fucking day of the week, because millions of people have died protecting those rights for each and every one of us to be able to enjoy or not enjoy. We're not forcing people to own a gun. We're simply saying these are the rules right now. If you want to change them, go right ahead. This is a free country. But until the majority of the country says, hey, you know what, we can do without firearms, I'm just going to say I'm sorry about it. Freedom isn't free. And a lot of these lives that are lost are simply in the balance of having a free country. And even when you take away rights like firearms rights, I'm probably preaching to the choir. Murders don't stop. Killing doesn't stop. The method may change a little bit, but for the criminal, doesn't listen to law anyway. So if you can write 100 laws and he's still going to ignore them, I mean, the only people that's going to follow him are the guys on this panel and listening to us, law-abiding gun owners.
You're right. Anyway, what I want to say is, I mean, I understood where Squib was coming from. Like here in Rhode Island, right? We have to try to escape. That's what the law says. We have to try to escape. But like that situation with the Uber driver and the cell phone, the guy says, I got a gun, I'm going to shoot you. I would have shot the son of a bitch too. And it might sound corny, yes, they would have maybe arrested me because that's what the law says. Well, why didn't you throw it in reverse? But that is why I pay an insurance premium to have that lawyer to help me fight that so I can continue to have my freedom.
Rick, thank you for bringing that up. Who do you have for insurance? I have U.S. Law Shield, and I recommend anybody that carries a firearm for self-protection have a type of insurance that will get you a lawyer right away so you don't have to make a statement. You don't have to do anything. It costs me $13.42 a month to have $1 million coverage with U.S. Law Shield, and they cover me in every other state I go to.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I have, the United States Concealed Carry Association one. I mean, I have the cheapest one they have. I only pay $13 a month too. But I mean, if I can afford more, I'll get more one day. But right now, that's what I pay, and I know I got a lawyer at the end of the phone if anything ever happens. So that's all I wanted to say. So there we go. What state do you live in? Oh, you're talking to Rich Wright, Squib. Okay. So, but hopefully I won't have to worry about this when I get to Indiana. So there we go. Anything else, guys? No?
I think you can have a rifle rack in Indiana in your truck.
I would love to have one.
Not.
I really would. I really would love to have one in there. So, anyway, we're almost out of time. Damn, the hour's gone by fast. So
yeah, you scared Night Strike off.
Yeah, well, he said he was only stopping by anyway. He wants to listen to day 2 of the thing.
Yeah, I think Gun Snob scared him off with that 38 comment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we had some good input tonight. I appreciate it. So we got so basically your choice what you do. But you, as everything else, you have to me, I carry one in the chamber because of personally, I feel safe doing it that way. I've had training. I'm comfortable with it. But also I do it because, as the show title, Shooting with Disabilities, is I have a weak left hand and arthritic fingers and hands and stuff. So as the weather gets colder, it gets harder for me to hold on to stuff. So that's one less thing I got to worry about in the situation of racking it. I can just pull and shoot. So there we go. Any last things anybody wants to say before we close it down? David?
Yeah, thanks for the invite to the show. And stay tuned to Dead Horse and I's channel. We're going to be doing some stuff on reloading on every Sunday during the daytime. If you just want to join in, if you reload, come on. We'll send you a link, and you can join in, and we're going to talk reloading. And Thursday nights as usual.
Is there a set time for that, or are you just going to wing it?
I believe Dead Horse has set a time for it. It's earlier in the morning. I believe it's around 9 or 10 Eastern.
Okay.
But I don't hold me to that.
And don't forget on Sunday, the more people that are on doing their stuff, I think it's the better. But a big crowd of people join Never Enough Ammo on Sunday mornings. Just want to mention that. He comes on at 10:30. He has a big following.
Okay.
I'm not saying, personally myself, you have another show running at the same time where you're giving people choice. But I just wanted to mention that,
Okay.
Yeah. Just something. Hey, you got anything to say, Patriot?
Oh, I've always got stuff to say, but doesn't mean anybody wants to hear.
It's not always true.
Oh, it's always true. It's just that, it might not be what people want to hear. Yeah, just get over to Indiegogo for Rick's getting him out of there. GoFundMe. Yeah, I get them all mixed up. Look at his bottom third, 2/3. I don't know. Look at his legs, whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somewhere down there.
Yeah, below the screen.
Yep. And also there's that the hashtag patch batch 2018 for the patches for gear websites. Only got a couple more days for it. Check my stuff out, and if you like it, share it, I guess.
All right.
If it doesn't bore you. If you got any ideas, let me know. I don't just. That's it.
All right. Thanks, Patriot. Squib, any last things?
Nah, I'm tired.
Are you at work? Are you working?
Training all week.
Oh, okay.
No, they got me in training on day shifts.
All right. You're not used to it. Okay.
Hey, Squib,
Now back to it next week.
Your sleep schedule all messed up, brother?
Like, yeah, that or I'm going through change of life. I don't know.
Menopause.
Any last thing to say?
Yeah, thanks for letting me jump in here and tell Squibby was wrong, but you know, that's basically all.
Hey, we all need to.
Hey, anytime I can give you a reason, man, just let
And don't forget, Gun Snob's got a show on Saturday nights at 9 real time. 8.
You mean 8 the real time?
No, that's Central. That's not real time.
Oh, wait, no,
Anyway.
no. Okay, yeah, you're not confused time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And midnight chat Sunday nights, 10:30 ish, give or take 2 or 3 hours. That's always fun if you can stay up.
And after this show, you've got Clover Tech. Then after him at 9 is Never Enough Ammo. Then I can't remember who's after that. Then you got the Daily Gun Show at midnight. So that's what's happening. I'll be back again on Saturday with Rick's Life, as I say it, at 3 p.m. Eastern. And I normally invite these usual suspects to every show. So you might see some more of these guys on the panel on Saturday. So that's it. I want to thank everybody for being here. I know I didn't call all your names out, but I've been reading the chat, and I appreciate you all showing up. I really do. So until Saturday, I want to say good night to everybody. Thank you.